Good morning, afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you doing? Yeah, we did plan to go live quite a while ago, but you might have seen, we posted the first one yesterday. We have a little video asset that we put out on social media. Anyway, I won't go into too much detail, but anyway, that slowed us down. But we are now live. It's 18 minutes past 12. Not quite the 10 a.m.-ish. Actually, exactly the 10 a.m.-ish. It's not quite 10 a.m., but very much 10 a.m.-ish. I will take that. I'll take that. Big old-ish, but it still counts. If you're in the chat, please do feel free to get involved. If you don't know who we are, my name is Graham Day. Hey, how you doing? And I'm joined by the man that we call Bibby. All right, Bib.
Hello.
Oh, mega delay then.
Yeah. I'm just closing down Photopea and stuff like that. Obviously, we're doing all of the stuffs. But yeah, everything's closed now, so hopefully it'll come back into sync in a second or two.
Sweet. In that case, then I will just continue with the intro. If you don't know who we are, as mentioned, I'm Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast. Even if we do say so ourselves anyway, we are here for the next hour or so to give you our thoughts and our impressions on the biggest, the best, the breaking stories in the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. Please do feel free to get involved in the chat. As mentioned, we are live on Twitch. This is a live stream, but this live stream gets turned into a podcast. So we go live at 10 a.m.-ish. each and every single weekday on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. And then we turn this live stream into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Ooh, put my teeth back in. So please do feel free to get involved in the chat, because there are people watching and listening on demand that can't get involved and have the conversation. You guys get to do that on their behalves. We have some good stories, some pretty tasty news to go through today as well, by the way. Excuse me one second, though. But before we jump into that, let me just give you a little bit of a reminder. Subscribers, you get prizes, or at least one of you does, each and every single month. We have the loot drop, which is where we give a prize to one lucky subscriber each and every single month. It's a little bit of an incentive for you guys to subscribe to the channel, but it's also a reward for you guys for subscribing to the channel, because obviously subscriptions help fund the channel, which do help us keep the lights and mics and everything on. So please do feel free to sub. Even if it's just a prime, that could be enough to get you into the loot drop. Also, on the subject of the loot drop, we posted on Twitter yesterday a poll asking what kind of prize people would like. The options were a Muscle Moose crate, Ice Cream Uploads merch, and then the third option was Aliens. I can't remember the name of it. Is it Fire Team Elite? That's it. Okay, so Aliens Fire Team Elite. So you can choose from a game, some merch, or some refreshment items. And at the moment, this morning when I last looked at it, the merch was in the lead, like with a good chunk of the vote. So it could be a case of we're giving away another one of these, the Ice Cream Uploads esports jerseys. So feel free to check out the loot drop if you want to get involved, if you want some prizes. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's just being here is wonderful. But if you want to take it further, then obviously subscribers potential for prizes. Nice. Bib. Looking very flowery.
Cheers, pal. Yeah, it's a bit overcast today, isn't it? So thought I'd try and bring a bit more bright, vibrant vibes to the stream today, because it is fucking miserable out there.
You're bringing the vibes.
I'm bringing the vibes. I'm bringing the vibes without show, because he knows the vibes, but he's not here, so I have to do it myself.
Honestly, show. God, let me drop.
Damn you having a job.
Let me drop some vibes into the chat. There we go. It's like he's here. I'll say words like shag, and I don't know what it means, but I'll say it anyway.
But yeah, I actually played some Pokemon with Ravi last night. I don't know if anyone's seen that was in the Discord.
I saw the
playing
message.
through a few ranked games. Yeah, playing through a few ranked games, enjoying it. Like, it was very difficult last night. I don't know whether or not it's just the team that was on. It wasn't an absolute shit show. It was just very difficult. I think we're both ranking up now, and we're getting to a point where a lot of people are saying it's paid to win, and I can see where they're coming from. But I've managed to level up some of my characters to a point where the held items are doing a bit more than they probably should be doing. But yeah, if you put money into it, you probably chances are your characters are going to be a lot more overpowered than ours are. But I'm still thoroughly enjoying that game. It's so addictive, man.
Seeing as Enix has just posted his face, we'll post Castolo's face into the chat as well. Why not? Why not? If anyone is in the chat, Pokemon Unite is a MOBA game from the Pokemon Company. Just want to point out that Bibby was basically saying he played with Ravi last night, and it was probably down to the team that he was playing with. So basically, Bibby's saying Ravi's shit. Someone clip it and send it to Ravi. Someone clip it. No,
we won 2, lost 2, which isn't the worst when you're playing in ranked. It's just the ones that we lost significantly, but the ones that we won, we only just won. So yeah, I'm not taking any credit for winning us one of the last one of the matches in the very last seconds as I dunked in a 20, which inevitably won us the game. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. But yeah, it's so addictive, man. It's so addictive.
It's quite humbling to see. You're just a humble man. Just don't even take the victories. Honestly, what a guy. NXX Slowbro is the worst. They need to delete him from the game. Absolute waste. And wait, baby, you're only on casual 2 rank.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's after like 25 matches, maybe 30. I'm sure Jordan's in casual 1, so I don't know what he's fucking chatting about. I look at his record; it's not the best.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, you've had to play it on stream and this, that, and the other. I mean, Jordan just sits there and sweats it on his own. And there's only 1 rank above. God, he's playing casual 2 now. Hey, there we go. Anyway, on that bombshell, let's go through the news for today. So obviously you may have seen it already that Xbox Game Pass is not sustainable. We've been saying it all along, and now it's confirmed. It's not confirmed at all. But Sean Layden, obviously, from the PlayStation side of things, or at least he used to be, he's a former PlayStation exec. He says that he believes the Xbox Game Pass model could not be sustainable. Is that just taking shots? We will discuss that one shortly. Honestly, my genuine opinion before reading this article is that I'm not convinced it is. I hope it is, because I hope it stays forever, because Xbox Game Pass is wonderful, but it could be a little bit of a lost leader. So we will jump into that, and then we'll move on through the rest of the stories, which will be the fact that EA has plans to expand its sports games over the next 5 years. That includes mobile gaming. That includes new business models. Where have we heard that kind of stuff before? This is getting interesting. Elsewhere, sticking with EA, this one's a little bit different. EA says the term gamer is outdated. Are you a gamer? No, you're not. Don't say you are, because it's not a thing anymore. And then finally, we'll wrap things up with an update from the Activision Blizzard lawsuit. Obviously, we ended the show yesterday talking about the fact that... Actually, let me rewind a little bit. No, do you know what? I won't. I'll come back to that when we get to it at that point in time. No point giving you the update now when we're going to go through it in detail later on. So we'll finish the show with an Activision Blizzard lawsuit update. But for now, Bibby, can you see Xbox Game Pass lasting forever?
I think so. Yes, so long as it's sustainable.
Yeah, well, that might just be the thing. Tom Ivan at VGC says has this story. It says former PlayStation exec questions the Xbox Game Pass model. Sean Layden is skeptical of its sustainability and its potential to expand the console market. So former PlayStation executive Sean Layden has questioned the long-term prospects of the Xbox Game Pass business model. During his time at PlayStation, Layden held a number of senior roles, including CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, VP of Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, and president of SCE Japan. He was chairman of Worldwide Studios when he departed in 2019. In a GamesIndustry.biz interview published on Tuesday, which focuses on his recent appointment to Streamline Media Group's advisory board, Layden expressed skepticism about the sustainability of Xbox Game Pass and its potential to expand the console market. Game Pass launched in June 2017 and has become central to Microsoft's gaming business, attracting over 18 million subscribers as of January 2021. It's amazing to think that 18 million subscribers, and that was 6 months ago. I mean, that could be well over 20 by now. Anyway, offers members access to over 100 titles, including all first-party games at launch. Sony has said on multiple occasions that the Game Pass model wouldn't work for PlayStation. Speaking to GI.biz last September, SIE boss Jim Ryan claimed a subscription-type model would be unsustainable for PlayStation Studios because it often sees its first-party games budgets grow to well over $100 million. Layden, who last year called overall AAA development not sustainable and suggested that game length and pricing may have to be adjusted to combat ballooning game budgets, echoed Ryan's sentiment. Quote, it's very hard to launch a $120 million game on a subscription service charging $9.99 a month, he said. You pencil it out, you're going to have 500 million subscribers. You're going to have 500 million subscribers before you start to recoup your investment. That's why right now you need to take a loss-leading position to try grow that base. But still, if you only have 250 million consoles out there, you're not going to get 500 million subscribers. So how do you circle that square? Nobody has figured that out yet. The number of people who own consoles today is thought to be around 250 million, which is about the same as it was in the late 1990s, and Layden suggested to GI.biz he was doubtful that Xbox Game Pass and its cloud gaming offering are the answer to growing this number. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, the subscription service's $15 or £11 premium tier, includes the ability to play games from the cloud. Initially available to Android users, Xbox Cloud Gaming was also rolled out to subscribers on PC and iOS in July 2021, quote, adding over 1 billion devices as a path to playing in the Xbox ecosystem, according to Microsoft. Of course, if you add in mobile phones, you get to hundreds of millions of players, Layden said, but those are related but distinct categories. We've learned over time that mobile gaming isn't necessarily a gateway into console, but just a different thing for people to do at a different time of the day. He added, people don't buy consoles because they want more steel and plastic in the living room. People buy consoles because they want access to the content. If you can find a way to get the content into people's homes without a box, then yes, indeed, everyone has a streaming solution of some form. Most of it is limited by whether you have a decent internet connection, and they haven't constructed the business model that works for that yet. Microsoft said in June that it's working with global TV manufacturers to embed the Xbox experience directly into internet-connected TVs, and that it's building its own streaming devices to bring cloud gaming to any TV or monitor without the need for console. I'm going to keep going because there's an update towards the end of it. So while it's been claimed that Xbox Game Pass has yet to amass enough subscribers to make it profitable, Xbox boss... This is it, he nailed it again. Phil Spencer
Great style.
I mean, it's not even a thing anymore. Xbox boss, yeah. Phil Spencer said last October that the company has no plans to increase the price of the service. Quote, we like the value that Game Pass is today, and from a business model, it's completely sustainable the way it is, he told the Drop Frames podcast. Update. During Microsoft's quarterly earnings call on Tuesday, CEO Satya Nadella claimed Xbox Game Pass is growing rapidly, with subscribers playing approximately 40% more games and spending 50% more than non-members. So there we go. PlayStation exec, or former PlayStation exec, believes Xbox Game Pass's model is not sustainable. But it doesn't just stop there. He doesn't just go, well, this is just not going to be good, is it, though, really, mate? And then stop talking. He gives some good breakdown as to reasoning behind that. So, Bib, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Is the Xbox Game Pass model sustainable?
Well, I mean, the points that he made against it were the points that have been there from day one, and like anyone who's outside of these two companies have been giving around about the same opinion. So we've all come to the same conclusion that potentially in the very long term, maybe not, but will they run it at a loss until they add something brand new in to get more people back in again? Are they just going to continue to run offers where you'll get the first 3 months for £1 if you're a new customer, and then if you are a lapsed customer, they'll bring you back in for another 3 months for £1, or it might be 6 months for a tenner or something like that. So they could always run deals to bring lapsed customers back in, or new customer deals. That's not a problem. I mean, a lot of people, that's how I got into Game Pass, by using the 3 months for £1 this time last year, I think it was. So yeah, I've been a customer for a year now, being able to play these types of games on my PC or on my Xbox One, and I've loved every second of it. Am I going to be a committed customer? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? It's the Netflix of gaming. I pay my Netflix and I watch it once a day at least, whether or not it's an episode of Modern Family or me and Samantha are sitting down to watch a new film. Samantha watches it all day, so you definitely get your money's worth out of it. Have I got my money's worth out of Game Pass over the last year? Tenfold, easily. Like the amount of games I've been able to play, try, hate, reinstall a completely different game. It's been unbelievable. So yeah, I think long term, if we're talking long term, what we're talking, are we talking 2, 5, 7, 10 years? Long term for me is probably around the 5-year mark. Is it sustainable then? Maybe not. Purely because I don't know how many games we're going to have keep on. Are they going to continue to add older games? Are they going to put new games on their day one again? Like, what? they need to continue to keep on giving us something new to keep the customer base there. From what I've had so far from them, it's absolutely worth the money. But is there going to become a point where there's nothing on that platform that is now got my interest? There's nothing new coming for the next couple of months. I could get away with not paying for it for 2 months. I'll just unsubscribe and then resubscribe later on down the line. There's no loyalty bonus for you there to be able to, keep it going in the meantime. And then if I resubscribe again, I'll still be paying the same amount that I'm paying now. So if I wanted to lapse it for 2 months, absolutely fine. But the way that it is now, it's absolutely worth your money if you have the time and you want to be able to play these games for next to nothing. So yeah, I think long term potentially not, depending on what how they evolve this platform and this game service. But I can't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Just going to jump off there and say thank you very much to Hamish for the raid with a party of 14. Thank you very much to you. And West and Chief dropping into the chat. Good morning. Oh, as he attacks the microphone. Nice. Elgato give us mics. Graham hits them every day. Nice one. So the story we're talking about, if you've just joined us, is that Sean Layden, who is an ex-PlayStation exec, says that he believes that the Xbox Game Pass model is unsustainable. Naturally, the first question we asked is that because he's an ex-PlayStation guy? Is he talking about Xbox because he's ex-PlayStation? Well, no, he's actually on a board of another brand within the games industry. And this was was it a conference or within a podcast? Anyway, with whatever the location that this conversation had, he basically said that he believes that the Xbox Game Pass model isn't sustainable due to the rising costs. And the examples that this article that we went over, the article was actually from Tom Ivan at VGC. I'll put the link in the chat if anyone does want to read over it. There we go. It basically goes over the fact that games now cost over $100 million pretty regularly. If you're going for the biggest, the best games, over $100 million. So working at the $9.99 a month that Xbox Game Pass costs, you need to have 500 million, so 500 million subscribers to be able to recoup the money for that costs before you start making a profit. At the moment, consoles only have, in total, not just Xbox, but Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and everything else, has around 250 million. So we need twice as much console users in the world to make Xbox Game Pass profitable. Obviously, that's a little bit different because Xbox Game Pass now has mobile, which is what we started to go into towards the end of the article. So the xCloud offers mobile users, but they are still different from console users. So will they give you the same sort of buy-in just because you have access to mobile users? Will they turn into paying customers? And then there's PC as well. Will PC fill the void? Sean Layden says, for now, he doesn't believe that will be the case. Xbox will be losing money on Game Pass, potentially. The thing is, though, Xbox might not be losing money on Game Pass because we saw that with the Epic versus Apple lawsuit, we got some stats and some numbers of how expensive games could be. Epic have thrown some big money at some games to get them exclusive onto Game Pass, or not onto Epic Game Store, or to get them free for a week on the Epic Game Store. And it's not going to be the same sort of thing because brands still get regular revenue from Game Pass, but Xbox has to give them some sort of money. You would assume to get them onto Game Pass, to get players into the game, to get the game for free, air quotes, there has to be some sort of recompense for the brands in there. But if it's only smaller titles and third-party titles, and Xbox has 20 million active users paying £10, £15 a month every month, then if they're not spending out that much, then that is pretty sustainable. The issue does come, though, when we get Halo Infinite, which is not only a big, massive, expensive game, but it's a big, massive, expensive game that has 12 months of delay added to it, which is 12 months of additional cost added to it. That could be an over $100 million game. Does that start to then make Game Pass go, okay, all that money that we were kind of like squirreling away, building up over time, gone. Okay, well, we'll keep squirreling and then the next game, gone. And if that was Xbox on the last generation, that's not a problem. Because Xbox on the last generation arguably had not enough good games. It had some good games. It had third-party games, obviously, but first-party were just not good enough, arguably. Obviously, that's still subjective, but it's you can argue it quite well. going forward, that's going to be different. Xbox has about a bajillion studios now. So if they release one game every 3 years that's decent, okay, maybe, and you've got 20 million active Game Pass users, that's fine. But if you release Halo and then you release a new Forza and then you release whatever was on the list of exclusive titles, and they all cost 50, 60, 70, 100 million, 120 million, then suddenly that starts to churn a lot of loss, and it's just a matter of how much of that can Xbox withstand. So Xbox Game Pass, pass. Well, do you know what? I can say Xbox Boss now, but I can't say Xbox Game Pass anymore. I can only have one at a time. One falls out when I get the other one right. So yeah, I mean,
back in.
It works. It provides an exceptional service at super value for money. It's just I still just can't see how it's going to be maintainable. I've said since day one, I do not see it as something that's sustainable. Not at that size and scale. If you are just giving away games that exist, if you are just giving away back catalogs, that's different. If you are giving away new experiences and those need to be funded, then that's when it starts to be an issue. So Game Pass now is wonderful and exceptional, probably for everyone involved. I imagine Microsoft is earning a shitload off of it now. But when they start adding the Halo into the market, and there's not a bunch of people paying $70 a time every time for it, then that's millions of revenue lost. When they start adding the next Gears into the game, or whatever the new game from the Coalition is going to be that's an Xbox game, or the next Bethesda games that they're not charging and earning 70 quid for, that's when it starts to be a case of, okay, so for now, Xbox Game Pass looks like it's sustainable enough to keep going and everything is fine. But when they start rolling their titles, when we start to see 3, 4, 5, I mean, was it Xbox wanted to release a game every month or every 3 months? Was a quote, I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if Jordan's here. I think he mentioned it to me on the day that we covered it or something like that. But let's say it is a month or every quarter. If they're releasing the game every quarter and it loses millions to bring people into the user base, then they're going to need more than 3 months to recoup those losses. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Wes says, I'm late to the chat, but surely there's evidence to show that free-to-play games work as massive moneymakers. Warzone, for example, would create more games with game passes, etc., will make the studios the money. Xbox charters to play games which could be free-to-play. Genius. Exactly. And people paying it, nice. But like Chief says, I'll buy Halo to forever own. I mean, that's the thing. There's that side of it as well. People want to buy it to have it forever, be that digitally or physically. So that's definitely part of it. The other thing, though, is if free-to-play is an exceptional thing, which is why we've seen PES just announced free-to-play. FIFA, we spoke about yesterday, looks like it's going to be free-to-play as of FIFA 23. Conversations circulating once again. I don't know, was it today or yesterday? Player IGN had said that PUBG, there's a leak that PUBG might be going free-to-play. They tried it in 2019. They didn't get the pull that they wanted, so they didn't actually go with it. Well, they had a trial of being free to play in 2019. They made the game free on all platforms, and there wasn't a big user uptake, although I think that was probably because there wasn't a really big content period at that point in time. You're late in a product cycle and you put it free to play, people already got it or not asked anymore, so they needed to do something with it. Anyway, they may be going free to play, but that shows that there's a lot there for free to play. There's definitely huge potential. The only thing with that is if everything becomes subscription based or free to play based, then you do cut off certain content types. So if, like we've spoken about previously, subscription bases like a Game Pass or an Apple Arcade or the Google Play, whatever it's called, they a lot of them are monetized based on hours spent in game or minutes spent playing. So if Bibby plays Football Manager, Sega gets shitloads of revenue because Bibby's there in his underpants turned inside out on week 4 kind of thing, still playing. Whereas if I play, I mean that's just we call that Tuesday, not anything else.
That's what I don't do any work on Tuesdays anymore. It's Football Manager Tuesdays.
But me, on the other hand, if I play A Way Out by EA/Hazelight Studios, 7 hours into that game and I'm done. Bibby's like barely choosing his first youth signing in that sort of time. So Hazelight gets a little bit of money and done. Whereas free to play, like Hazelight can't really add anything in there because it's a single/co-op, well, it is co-op player sort of angle. But single player games don't really benefit from the game passes, the season passes, the battle passes, because single player games don't really have that seasoning. Not salt and ketchup. Salt and ketchup. I meant to say salt and pepper, but West's here, so the ketchup slipped out. God damn it! I didn't even mean it. Oh, did I? Did I? But yeah, I mean, I am hugely excited, genuinely excited. And I know a lot of people are salty right now because there's a lot of conversations about free to play. I am genuinely excited about free to play. It could be hard times. It could be shit. It could work out to be shit. Because the thing with trying new models and new setups and new systems is that they are new. And as you will find with most things that are new, they need to be broken in. Get a new pair of shoes, you need to break those things in. Yeah, they're shiny and new and wonderful, and they're super exciting, but you put them on and, oh my God, your toes are bleeding. Fuck this shit. And that's kind of where we are with new payment models. Yes, free to play and so on are new business models. They do offer new potential exciting opportunities, but they could come with risks and issues and teething problems. And I'm perfectly accepting that, but I do like how exciting it is that so many, it's not the entire industry, but so many brands that I am interested in, PUBG, PES, FIFA, that are all looking at free-to-play, at moving to that model. That lets you know that the industry is waking up to something that offers potential. It does offer potential profit as well, though. So potential profit is counterintuitive to potential content. Not always, but usually is. So if you're chasing profit, it can be at the expense of content. Not always, it doesn't have to be. So that's the teething problems that we have to get past. But I am quite excited to see how many different things are going towards it. And Xbox Game Pass is one of those new models. Subscription services were not a thing in the last generation. They became a thing towards the end of the last generation, and they are still very embryonic as they are. So Xbox Game Pass, will evolve, will get bigger, will get better, but could get more expensive. I think that is probably likely because yes, they will open up mobile, they will open up PC, they will action your TV or whatever device you have to be able to play it on, but there's still 250 consoles isn't 250 consoles. That's 250 million consoles. That's 250 million paying users. And you can't just magic those out of the air. Yes, the gaming reach is huge. Video games are more than just games anymore. They're a culture. There is a culture shift. But changing from 250 million to 300 million is massive. So adding another 200 million on top of that would be tectonic. So yeah, the price will have to go up as well as more users will have to come in my opinion, but we'll enjoy it for while it's there, because for $9.99 a month you can get access to a subscription service that gives you access to okay, you know what I'm doing.
Well, the whole core of it is the subscription is only good as the games that are on it. If there's no good games for you to be able to go in and keep your, it's not, well, you can pay for the yearly fee up front, but if you are a rolling contracted customer, then you can just forget about it and move on to something else, or just play games that you've actually got physically that the backlog is so wide that you need to go back and play through them and just wait for the other games to filter through. So the content is only as good as the games that are on it, unless you're Netflix, when you could be paying it for 4 months before there's actually something that you want to watch on it.
Sky, or you could be paying it for 12 months before there's actually something you want on it. Fuck's sake, 18 months or whatever. True. God damn it.
Very true.
Okay, let's stick in the same ballpark, but jump on to the next story. So this one covers FIFA and Madden, as it says at the top, written by Jared Moore at IGN. It says, EA has big plans to expand its sports games over the next 5 years as it targets an audience of 500 million players. Interesting. That's a number that was just mentioned in the last one. Anyway, in an interview with Axios, EA Sports General Manager Daryl Holt said that the company has plans to get, quote, even bigger on mobile, in football, maybe even with a basketball again. The company, known for publishing iconic sports games such as FIFA, Madden NFL, and NHL, says that it currently reaches an audience of over 230 million players, but that it's trying to more than double that number to 500 million across the next 5 years. In the interview, Holt said that the expansion will involve, quote, new business models, new geographies, end quote. The idea of new business models might cause some speculation after FIFA's chief rival PES It's not called PES anymore. Recently underwent a name change. Oh, there you go. Ditched annual releases and adopted a free-to-play model. There's been no word on whether EA might follow suit with its mainline console sports games. Well, you weren't listening to the scoop yesterday, because there definitely was word, although it was only rumours and leaks. Anyway, more nebulously, Holt added that EA Sports will focus on the social aspects of playing its games, adding that it's creating social networks within its titles. Part of this expansion could come through offering a greater range of sporting games. In the interview, Holt discussed next-gen basketball games without revealing whether they'd mark a return to the NBA Live NBA Live series EA Sports has left dormant since 2018. Late last year, EA announced plans to release multiple new sports franchises in the coming years. The company then formally completed a $1.2 billion acquisition of Codemasters, the publisher known for creating a range of racing franchises such as Formula One, Dirt, and Project Cars in February 2021. EA confirmed at the time that it would be treating Codemasters Studios as an independent group, but did highlight a potential interest in perhaps bringing the Formula One license back under its own EA Sports brand. EA also announced late last year that it had extended 2 licensing deals, one with the NHL and another with the UFC, which would allow it to continue making games for both sports well into the newest console generation. Whilst on mobile, EA recently acquired Playdemic Mobile Games from Warner Brothers in an all-cash deal valued at around $1.4 billion. Playdemic Mobile Games are best known for creating its Golf Clash series. Elsewhere in the interview, Holt spoke about the company's flagship series, Madden NFL. The series' latest iteration, Madden NFL 21, released in August 2020 to mixed reviews. IGN reviewed Madden NFL 21 at release, where it awarded it with a 6 out of 10, noting that the game had a lack of innovation across the board and technical issues. Holt, who oversees the series, said that this year's Madden NFL 22 should run better and acknowledge that there's a responsibility for us to deal with craftsmanship in terms of bugs or any issues of instability. EA will be hoping that Madden NFL 22 releases to positive reviews, as this could help bring in new players to the franchise. We'll leave that there. EA has big plans to expand its sports games over the next 5 years. Is this EA being EA, doing EA's business that EA wants to do from the off? Is this EA reacting to the market? Is EA reacting to the market just part of EA's business anyway? We've seen EA already go for golf because 2K are doing big bits there. We've seen EA within this article mention that they could be looking at basketball, and 2K are doing bits there. EA has seen other industries and other brands changing models, looking at free-to-play models. EA mentioned that that's something they're keeping their eye on, could be looking to do things there. So yeah, big plans, big changes, mobile, free-to-play, business, whatever. Babe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if I was part of the marketing team or part of the bigwigs at the very top, I'll be in the boardroom. I'd have a big whiteboard, and I would be putting a giant map of the world on there with a lot of arrows pointing to different demographics and different targeted areas, because there is a lot of games that they end up publishing that they don't have the dominant market in. And I don't mean that in terms of the games in their franchises. I mean genuinely like the games, like the mostly American ones. And that's not to say that audiences around the world don't like baseball, that don't like basketball, that don't like NHL.
At a time, multi-ball.
Yeah, yeah, because there is a lot of people around the world that like those, but the target audience for those types of games are predominantly America. I'm not going to die on that hill, but I would love to see the volume of people around the world that follow those sports religiously, not just because it's something that they might not have been brought up with, but the times that those are on are fucking ridiculous, because obviously it caters to the American market. Why would they do it at 12 p.m. midnight just for the sake of us over in England? So the likes of Madden, the likes of NHL, the likes of NBA, the market is getting bigger over in the UK. We have the NFL coming over to Wembley to play some of their matches over here, just so that the British audience are able to go and watch their favourite team go and compete, or just go down because it's an event that they might want to get into. So I would genuinely have the big whiteboard. I'd have all of the target demographics over there. When it comes down to the football stuff, obviously they want to be targeting South America, they want to be targeting Asia, where FIFA predominantly doesn't do that well because it is a eFootball / PES market over there. So they want to try and expand and market the game over there a little bit more. But nowhere in this does it mention, as far as what I've read, I'm listening to you reading it as I'm reading it at the same time, it doesn't mention money. It all comes down to how many people they want to be playing their games, because people equals money. If you've got double the amount of people that are playing the games now, the chances are you are going to be doubling or trebling your profits, because that person will then end up either playing the Ultimate Team version or whatever. Like I am a lapsed NHL fan. I love the sport. I don't necessarily follow it, but I've grown up playing the games and I've always enjoyed it. I haven't played one since the last one was with you, maybe in 2018. I think it was me, you, and Beans did a pro clubs on NHL for a couple of weeks, maybe even days. But I love NHL. Not a fan of American football. I do like the sport of basketball, but I don't follow it. NBA Jam is literally my pinnacle, as we found out when we was playing
Don't remember.
at Q64.
Don't remember. Don't remember
it. But yeah, I mean, again, they're just going to be targeting markets. That's what businesses do. If you aren't doing your job in marketing right, if you aren't targeting places where you could potentially maximize your profit or exposure of your brand, it's why you only see Coca-Cola really advertised once a year at Christmas, because you expect the Coca-Cola van to be coming through. Everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. Coca-Cola and Heineken are the two biggest things in the world. Yeah. It's like, I don't understand why McDonald's needs to advertise. They have an
Sorry.
they have an advertisement on the radio and the TV at least 14 times a day. I don't understand why they need to. I don't know whether or not it's just so the kids go, oh, can I have McDonald's? Or my wife would say, yeah, can I have McDonald's tonight? It's like, yeah, go on then. Double quarter pounder, please. But yeah, I don't understand why they need to. But if EA are doing their job properly, and they do it very well, they'll be targeting demographics and audiences that don't particularly play their brand of games, whether or not that's the American versions or FIFA, essentially the world's biggest sport. So yeah, this shouldn't be news to anyone. It's just how they're going to go about doing it. And the biggest thing for them at this moment in time, including the world of video games as it is a free-to-play model. Get people in, get it in your hands, and then see where the profits will take you from there.
It's nice to see the shift to free-to-play in some instances as well. Obviously, as mentioned, take it with a pinch, because free-to-play is potential new pitfalls. It does offer some wonders, but it's the potential pitfalls. But it's nice to see that if EA is looking at free-to-play, then that's kind of a change in that sort of sense, because the games like Madden and FIFA and NHL are guaranteed sellers because of the weight of the licenses that they carry. But those being free to play are huge wins for such a large number of people. A lot of people will play FIFA, Madden, NHL and not put money into it. So a lot of people just generally are being given, there's a free game, which is exceptional. Obviously, some people will, obviously, as with anything, you get your cash whales and cash cows that fund all of the people below them. Fair enough. That's just business and marketing stuff. But it's nice to see that, yeah, there is change happening. The interesting thing is, though, is that they are targeting 500 million players across the next 5 years, which, if we wrap up the last article, so if you didn't catch the first article of the day, it was Sean Layden, ex-PlayStation exec, talking about whether Xbox Game Pass is sustainable or not. He doesn't believe NHL, and I've just got to... eye-wormed by Bibby writing NHL in the chat. He doesn't believe that Game Pass, not NHL, is sustainable for the long term. And he was saying that at 250 million users, which is where the console market is right now, that you need to double that figure to get Xbox Game Pass sustainable. Everyone in the industry needs to have a Game Pass subscription. Everyone in the community, not the industry, needs to have a subscription. Every one of those 500 million players needs a subscription to Game Pass for them to be able to make big blockbuster games and have them coming out for free, air quotes, on Game Pass without putting the prices up. And it's interesting that FIFA targets the same number, 500 million players. 500 million players is what they're targeting. How are they targeting that? Because that article says, if you look back at 1994, and consoles, even though they feel like they've just got more and more popular throughout my entire life, gaming has become more and more popular, which it has in general. Sales peaked at like the PS2 sort of period, and then dropped off again. People weren't spending as much. There was more options, but there wasn't really, because you had the Sega and the Nintendo and stuff. But anyway, they went up and they went down, and they're coming kind of back up again. But still, if in 1994 we had 250 million, then we had a bit of a peak, and we're still quite high now at a peak, and we've got about 250 million. So that's a long old time. That's 25, 20, almost 30 years gone by there that we've stuck at 250 million. How are they going to double that number in 5 years? That just seems so unreachable. I mean, it's good to aim high, but how are they single-handedly going to double their user base in that sort of time? I'm not 100% sure. To go from an audience of 230 million players to more than double that number to 500 million in 5 years just seems, it's not going to happen.
Give the game away for free. That's the only thing I can think of straight off the bat. Literally, give the game away for free. Like for me, when it comes down to playing sports games, inevitably I am the offline player because I'm just so shit at playing them online. The only time I have fun playing online is when I play with other people who can carry me. But the likes of Master League, the likes of career modes, all of these game modes are what I play sports games for. Apart from FIFA and Pro Clubs, like Pro Clubs is by far the greatest video game sports mode of all time. Like it's not even close. I mean, MLO is probably the closest thing to it, but Pro Clubs is the one thing consistently for the last 10 years, if not 11 years, that I have played FIFA for. Like, there's nothing that comes closer to it. If you can find 5 or 6 of your mates to play that game mode with you, it's unbelievable. It's unrivaled. You will never get close to it. That would be the type of thing I imagine that you would have to pay for, and then a foot would just become free. Madden's foot would be it would be foot as well. So that would be free. NHL has Pro Clubs, it has Ultimate Team, that would be free. So getting it into people's hands is the first step. And if they have to remove that $60 barrier, which FIFA don't need to be charging $60 for a video game, because they'll get that money anyway, and all people will do is spend that $60 or £60 straight into the Ultimate Team. Like there's people I know that will tuck away 30 quid a week that will play Ultimate Team, and 30 quid a week won't even touch the top, won't even scrape the barrel when it comes to that sort of stuff. £30 a week is nothing in foot.
Tell
The
you
amount
what
of money
it does.
that they make hand over fist.
Tell you what it does save. It does save us every year from getting those videos of a bunch of lads burying their copy of FIFA 21 in the garden, or someone or someone pissing on it, kind of thing. Those videos come along every year. I mean, if it's free and it's just digital, then we don't have to see that stuff anymore. But yeah, Talk Shows Meter says it'll save a lot of plastic in FIFA cases going into landfill. Yeah, exactly. Or your back garden with a shovel. Job's a good one. Where's the comment from Iceman? In before EA Sports Kabaddi. Fucking imagine. That's amazing. Do you know, I didn't even know Kabaddi existed until I went to university. And for those that don't know, those uninitiated like me, Kabaddi is basically a ball game that you play. But whenever you have the ball, you aren't allowed to breathe. You have to hold your breath. And how do you know that someone's holding the breath? Well, you don't really. So the way that you find out that someone's holding the breath is to get them to repeat the word kabaddi over and over and over again. So if I'm running around with a ball, I'm going kabaddi, 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 kabaddi. Anyway, I think it was an Indian sport, maybe. And it was on Channel 4. I think someone else mentioned it in the chat, actually. Was it Madge? Oh, there you go. I mind that being shown on Channel 4 years ago. Exactly. So we watched a video of it in one of my sports broadcast genres seminars from my degree kind of thing. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. So yeah, in before EA Sports Kabaddi. Let's get that. And what's GAA? What do you mean GAA? Water polo? I mean, yeah.
Gaelic Games. Is that the one?
I don't know.
Where it's like, I mean, to be fair, I've always wanted to play that because I think it's fucking awesome. Oh yeah, like the amount of times as a striker I've hit the ball over the bar is unbelievable. So the fact that it's got a rugby post above a football net, I would be the fucking world's greatest player at Gaelic Games or whatever it is. I'm sure it's GAA. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's amazing. It's such a good sport where you play it with your hands, like you dribble with it like a basketball. And then you can kick it to someone if you really wanted to as well. So it's like rugby, football, and basketball all mixed into the same sport.
And then you've got the one that's like a baseball bat that's made out of a hockey stick. That's you kind of like running. It's almost like lacrosse, but yeah. GAA is Gaelic Games, football, hurling, rounders, handball. I can't remember which one's. It's not hurling, is it? Is hurling the one that's kind of like the hockey-ish sort of lacrosse sort of thing, but
I think so. I remember Alistair and Barry used to be mad about it, obviously, because they're from Ireland. Obviously, it's a massive thing over there. But yeah, it's that whatever the GA football, fucking mint, mate. It's so good. Watch the videos on YouTube, obviously, after you finish this. But it is incredible. If you've never heard of it before, go and have a look at it, and you'll blow your mind.
It's absolutely thundering, like fuck here, like absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't seen it now.
Where did we get to? So hyped for NHL Free Agent Frenzy starting today at 17 UK. Is that 5 p.m.? Do you mean? I haven't played an NHL since one on the Mega Drive. 94-ish, says Talks on Music. Yeah, I used to love it. I mean, the last one I played intensively was about 2004, 2005. And I've mentioned it quite a few times. It was when I was in uni. Me and my flatmate Craig or Foster, we used to Skype University and play games. So that's where Need for Speed Most Wanted.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I know. Need for Speed.
Okay.
Need for Speed Most Wanted, NHL 2004, 2005, or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
There was a rugby game at the same time from EA as well. We got like all three on some sort of like game EA bundle kind of thing. And yeah, I used to love playing NHL. Just spend all the game not trying to play, but trying to get into fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone sent it off.
That's the bit where you've probably heard me talk about before, or you might not have done, but they had to create a character bit. So me and Foster made our own characters, but the American pronunciations of both of our names weren't very good. So I'm Graham, and he was Craig. So it's like you'd get like Kaczynski to Graham to Craig. It's like, oh god, okay, we'll turn that back off. We'll just go to no-names. NHL Hits was the greatest NHL game. Prove me wrong. Also, good afternoon. I don't think I've played NHL Hits. Last ice hockey game I played, last ice hockey game I played was on the Dreamcast. 2K Sports, I think, publishers of it. 2K, you don't want to play those games. Mr. T's here. Oh no, what's the chances? Oh, the 2K NHL games were goated. Only time I have fun playing online is when I win, says Lake in air quotes. Yes, exactly. That's a bit. Pie in the sky, wishful thinking to get that player count. Absolutely, 500 million is huge numbers. It's actually pronounced Kabuddi. There you go. If you don't online, you cannot fill it with FIFA cases. #smart. There you go. No, it wasn't. NHL Open Ice was/is. I don't know that one either.
I'm sure there was I'm sure EA brought out a like Xbox Arcade version of NHL, and it was like 3v3, and it was so good. Like I would love them to be able to do something like that again. Like it was like NBA Jam, but in NHL. But I think it was 3v3, and I can't remember. I'm sure Well, I'm sure Lake will be all over this because he's banging into it. But NHL Xbox Arcade, it was so good. I'd love them to be able to do something like that again. I can't remember. It was just called 3-on-3 NHL Arcade. Something as simple as that. It was unbelievable. Is it still? Can you still play it? No.
Is it an EA one?
Yeah, it was an EA one. Yeah.
See, well, do you know what? You say you can no longer play it?
No.
Do you know why that is? That's because EA doesn't make games for gamers anymore. Yeah, you see. It's a nice segue to the next bit of news. Yay! Tom Ivan at VGC says, EA's brand boss says the term gamer is outdated. Gaming is no longer a medium or an industry. It is simply interactive. So interactive entertainment is so widespread and takes so many forms that the term gamer is an outdated one. That's the view of Electronic Arts VP of brand El McCarthy, who told Adweek that the convergence of gaming and everything in culture means almost everyone is now a player. Gaming is no longer a medium or an industry, it's simply interactive. You can now interact with almost everything through play, from an interest area like interior designment to a movement like Black Lives Matter or exploring your sexual identity, she said. According to McCarthy, there's really no such thing as gamers at all, and understanding that will be crucial for marketers hoping to engage in the interactive entertainment space. The recent rise in more lo-fi live service games allows faster integration of culture than ever before, she said. This is a huge opportunity for marketing and forces a more audience-first and fluid approach for brands looking to engage authentically. McCarthy claims just 14% of players describe themselves as gamers, and that figure drops to 6% for women. Quote, there are no best practice rules for how to engage with these niche, multifaceted and passionate communities, she said. Trying to target gamers is like saying you're targeting people who like music or people who breathe in air. McCarthy joined EA in February 2020 with a remit to breathe new life into a near 40-year-old brand. Founded in 1982 Redwood City, California, based, EA is best known for its EA sports series, including FIFA and Madden. You know what? That's fine. We don't need to go over that sort of stuff. But the phrase gamer, if everyone is a gamer, is there no such thing as a gamer anymore? EA believes the phrase is outdated and you can no longer target gamers. Everyone is a gamer, so you can't target everyone. What are your thoughts on that, babe?
It just seems like a bit of a dumb statement. Like, we are gamers because we play video games. Are people who watch films filmers? And are people who watch TV series TV series? Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. Like, you got footballers, golfers. Like, it's just a term that you use because that's what you predominantly do. Like, I don't understand it. Like, fair enough. Yeah, gaming is no longer a medium or an industry. It genuinely is a lot. It is an interactive experience, especially with a lot of single player games nowadays. It's like, I'd much rather play a single player video game than go to the cinema and watch a 2-hour film because I feel like it tells a story a lot better. But I don't think that this is necessarily not newsworthy. I don't even think it needs to be spoken about because I don't know. We don't know who who the people who they've asked. It says 14% of players describe themselves as gamers. The figure drops to 6% for women. How many people did they ask? And how did they ask the questions? Like, was it a poll on Twitter? It just, this type of thing doesn't make sense. It just feels odd, is the way I can describe it, because I don't know how to describe how we play games as anything else.
I get where she's coming from, and I do agree with what she says, but I also don't at the same time. It's like she's saying that people are multifaceted. I think the phrase gamer is multifaceted in that sort of sense. You can't say gamer doesn't work anymore, because gamer does work anymore. Gamer has never worked for the entire medium though, because gamer for some people is aspirational. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I live my life to get home and play games, to buy new things for my setup and stuff. This, that, and the other. Yeah, I'm a gamer. But for other people, gamers are sweaty neckbeards that live downstairs in their mum's basement, sort of thing. So gamer has never been a phrase that has applied to everyone. So I feel it's kind of an odd statement. I agree with the sentiment. What she's saying is there are so many gamers in so many different areas and things now that you can't treat them all the same. That's what she's saying, which is a non-fact, like a non-statement, because it's absolute fact and has always been the case. Someone that played on the little LCD sort of screens that you'd get for $4.99, where you've got like up, down, left, right, and you basically control a sprite on one side of the screen. You got a Dungeons and Dragons version game of that. Someone who played that Dungeons and Dragons like button masher LCD game was a gamer. Someone that played Dungeons and Dragons like you would see on Stranger Things, if that's where you've obviously had your D&D experiences, but obviously there are shitloads more. But if you're sat downstairs with a bunch of mates and you're role playing, you've all got your characters and stuff, and you're playing D&D, that is gaming as well. So you're a gamer in that sort of sense. So the phrase gamer is multifaceted. So to say that we can't use the word gamer is it almost feels like it's one of those, it feels like one of those LinkedIn statements that sounds more, what's the word I'm looking at? I tried to use this word the other day. There's a word that means sounds smarter than it is. And it's a word that always gets used with that Cantonar, the seagulls follow the trawler because they want to catch some fish, sort of whatever phrase. I can't remember what quote he said word for word, but that phrase was actually pretty simplistic, but it sounds smarter. It sounds like you're just dropping logic bombs. And this sounds like one of those things where it sounds like you're dropping logic bombs, but it's just a really simplistic thing in terms of, okay, gamers are everywhere. Not everyone is the same. People do different things and have different tastes. That is perfectly fine. I feel like though the use of we don't need the word gamer anymore is either to generate headlines and get attention and exposure, or it's just one of those. It's like when you put a presentation together, you need something to be the core, your theory that you pose, your question that you want to evoke thought in people. You don't necessarily believe it, but it is one of those things. I think for me, that's probably where she's come with this. That's a thought that she's posing to get people to think. She's not saying get rid of the word gamer, because that's not what she's saying, but she's saying it isn't as applicable. I would argue that it was never as applicable as she's suggesting, and it's still pretty much the same. You just need to segment your audience just how you always have done. This seems a non-story. Wipe sweat from neckbeard. Yeah. I bet the comments on this article on Twitter were level-headed. Well, the only one I could see when you actually saw you write that, the only one I could see was this one, which was actually reasonably level-headed. Ish. I don't know the context of why they wrote it, but Digital Sniper with a name like that, you'd have to assume that person is a gamer, and it's confirmed by the fact that they respond with, "I'll stick with gamer." Thanks. That's in response to the VGC news article. There could be other more toxic content out there, no doubt. But Asim says, I get what she's saying, though. Gaming is an actual lifestyle and cultural thing now. It's no longer that massively niche thing. All types of people play games, different audience for different games, sure, but gamer itself is no longer an audience in itself. I took it as she's talking about it from a marketing point of view. David says, I swapped my neck for some extra chins. Man says, gaming's always been a lifestyle, though. It's a pastime activity. I mean, I believe I think it's more mainstream, but I would say it's always been a lifestyle choice. For me, it has. Like going around to friends and taking my PlayStation around to my mate Carl's house and having two TVs, like big CRT TVs in his kitchen, so we could both play games and like low budget LAN party sort of stuff, because we never had enough money to do proper LAN party-ish sort of thing. So there's always been a lifestyle choice there for me. But yeah, I mean, I agree though. I agree. It's definitely a marketing perspective that she's coming at it from. I don't know. It probably wasn't intended for gamers, this article, this speech, should I say, not the article. Because if you take a conversation about something that wasn't meant to, I'll see if I can put this into words. If you take a conversation about someone that wasn't meant to be said to that someone and then present it to them in a third party, it sounds a bit more malicious or a bit odd or a bit disjointed, and I think that's what it is. She's probably just having a marketing conversation about air quotes gamers in general, saying, okay, gamers technically isn't quite a thing, but then if you put that conversation and pose it to gamers, then naturally they go, actually, I think you'll find I'll stick with gamer, thanks. Thank you, Digital Sniper, at JWJone21. So yeah, it's a non-story, it's a non-thing, and for me, I get where she's coming from. Gaming has grown massively, but that wouldn't change my approach in that sort of sense, because I think poor marketers are only just realizing that you should be segregating your marketing, because that has always been a thing. Yeah. Like even before video games, I used to work in digital marketing analytics, and traffic on a website for kitchens was always something that was massively segregated. So it's probably just one of those conversations. Like I use the phrase LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn conversation. A lot of people say obvious things on LinkedIn because sometimes the obvious thing is enough to say, and she's probably just done that. She's probably not trying to ruffle feathers. She's just probably trying to say the obvious.
It's feathers, mate.
I don't know, but she's trying to get him ruffled, mate. Absolutely loves it. Feathers has got a big smile. Anyway, okay, we'll move on from that. So yeah, the phrase gamer is outdated, at least from a marketing perspective. Don't go we pitchforks. It's okay. It's just a conversation. Chill out.
Exactly.
Chill out.
Well, it's like our mobile gamers, our people who play mobile games on.
No.
People who play games on mobile gamers, Graham.
No.
And that's absolutely nothing to do with Pez. That's genuinely nothing to do with Pez. It's not a dig at anyone. It's the age-old argument of you won't playing Candy Crush.
No, not gamer. No, gamer. No, because I own the phrase gamer because I believe that applies to me, and what they're doing is different, so they can't be the same as me, so they can't have the same word that I use. Even though they're playing a game, which makes them a gamer. But yes, no, how dare they?
The only gamers that exist in this world are people who play World of Warcraft. Is that what we're saying? The only hardcore gamers that we have in this industry are the people who play World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the people sat there at their game of chess, looking over at World of Warcraft players, going, new to this, I heard. Yeah, you...
First day.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Gamers, it was for a niche audience. It's now mass. Niche in the 70s has been mass since the 80s. Now it's a leader in pastime activity. Maybe those who play exclusive on phones don't consider themselves gamer. I mean, that's it. A lot of people that play on consoles don't consider themselves gamer, which is where like the nuances, because she said it's there's a multifaceted audience. I believe the word is just as multifaceted as the audience itself, because a lot of people that you would class as a gamer, I mean, what makes you a gamer? Do you have a game device and play games? That could be a gamer. But then some people are like, well, I'm not a gamer, because for me it's all down to definition and subjectivity. If a gamer is just someone that can play games, That's your definition. Someone else might have the definition that a gamer is that only plays games, that sacrifices their physical health, their mental health, their social health just to play games. Some people will see that as a gamer. Other people will see gamers as not someone that just plays games, not someone that sacrifices physical, mental, and social health, but someone that actually builds social connections, someone that is an esports professional, so builds up physical dexterity, problem solving and stuff. So there's so many different facets within it that it was an article that was meant to start conversation. Probably an article that was meant to start inflammatory conversation, to be fair, as Mr. T says. Like, where was the comment? It's got off the screen. I can't find it now, but yeah. I bet the comments on this article on Twitter were level-headed. Exactly. It's that sort of article where it will kick things off, because it's. Do you know? I actually read. I'm gonna go on a massive tangent. I read something on Facebook. I know you don't read on Facebook because it's just not worth it. But it was one of those like shitty proverbs of like where it wasn't really a duck. It was you. It was a metaphor all along. You're the one that's being bad to yourself. Those sort of things. And it was about the media. And it was basically the media just kind of. It was, do you know? I'll find it. I'll find it and I'll share it on Discord, because it's a little bit deep in terms of the media. Basically, people commit atrocities and stuff based on the back of media, and then the media, once the atrocities start, just sit back and go, "Oh, look at all the atrocities," and report on those. And it was effectively that. So this story wasn't really. It was just opinion. But obviously, yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's step away from that and let's step into something that is a little bit more serious, though. As obviously, we've mentioned that we will give you an update on the Activision Blizzard lawsuit, and that's where we are now. This is our last story of the day. It's written by Peter GLAGOWSKI at The Gamer, and it says, Bobby Kotick addresses Activision Blizzard lawsuit, says initial response was tone deaf. Activision Blizzard's CEO, Bobby Kotick, addresses the company's response to California's lawsuit and states it was tone deaf. I won't give you an update because I assume it will be in this, but if not, we'll wrap it up afterwards. In an open letter to employees of Activision Blizzard tonight, CEO Bobby Kotick addressed the company's initial response to the state of California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawsuit, saying it was quite frankly tone deaf. That's a quote, by the way. Next quote. I want to recognize and thank all those who have come forward in the past and in recent days, Kotick writes. I appreciate your courage. Every voice matters, and we will do a better job of listening now and in the future. Our initial responses to the issues we face together and to your concerns were, quite frankly, tone deaf. For those out of the loop, the DFEH filed a lawsuit last week against Activision Blizzard that alleged the company was run with a frat boy mentality. The very next day, the company countered the DFEH by claiming California was falsifying information and giving a distorted view of what the company actually was. Angered by that response, a large number of employees took to social media to voice their disdain for Activision Blizzard's response. As of writing, over 2,500 employees have signed a letter condemning the response, and a large number will be staging a walkout tomorrow in protest. Was that a walkout? Oh, it was 8 hours ago, so it must be tomorrow. Okay. Finally addressing the situation, Kotick penned this letter and states the company will be implementing a few immediate changes. As he writes, Activision Blizzard will incorporate the following actions in support of its workers. Additional employee support will be added to the compliance and employee relations teams. Third-party moderated listening sessions will be available for current employees to suggest changes. All managers and leaders across the company will undergo an evaluation, and if found to have impeded employee growth, will be terminated. I'm assuming that's contracts, not like physically. Extra compliance resources will be available to hiring managers to ensure they are adhering to recent changes in hiring practices. And lastly, changes will be made to content in unspecified games that employees and players have deemed inappropriate. In addition to that, Kotick states that he has asked the law firm Wilmer Hill to conduct a review of Activision Blizzard's policies and procedures to ensure that managers are doing their best to enforce and maintain the company's best practices. This work is said to begin immediately. Quote, your well-being remains my priority, and I will spare no company resource ensuring that our company has the most welcoming, comfortable, and safe culture possible. Kotick concludes the letter with, you have my unwavering commitment that we will improve our company together, and we will be the most inspiring, inclusive entertainment company in the world. So, Activision gets a lawsuit filed against them. Activision full-on doubles down, says, bullshit, you've got nothing. Fuck you. Activision employees say, you didn't say that on our behalf, not in my name. There's actually a shitload of shit that's been ongoing that you've not dealt with. Activision realised that they're not just going to be able to brute force, chest out, and see this one off, and have now done a bit of a U-turn, released an apology saying that they were tone deaf, and have now put things into place to start looking out for their employees. A couple of things, Bib. One, is it right for the employees to hold their employers to account? And two, should the employers have done this from the off?
Yes to both. Yes to both. I don't understand how it's taken them so long. I can't believe they had the cheek to come out with the company-facing email from yesterday, the open letter one, to just disregard everything straight from the get-go, and it's like making it out that it wasn't as bad as what is being made out by everyone, despite all the accounts from different employees, past, and present, and then to whether or not they've even logged on to any kind of social media or looked at anything that's ever been said about them over the last couple of weeks, like it feels like damage limitations, and I genuinely thought that this would have been what they've written now, or what Bobby Kotick has come out and said. I genuinely thought that would have been the first piece of released statement that would have come out, not the shit show that they got yesterday, but what they've done the open letter for today would have been the first instance of them talking about it in some sort of, light that they are trying to do things better, not the disaster stuff that we seen yesterday. It just made everything, that just doubled down on the fact that we haven't got a frat boy maternity. Like everything in our business is absolutely done to the letter of the law. Like
Yeah, just ask Big Chad. Chad, put down that Budweiser and come and tell these people how we're all good people.
Like there's doubling down and there's doubling down, and they double down on the exact wrong thing to do. And now it just feels like it's damage limitations. Like they're just trying to respectfully sort out their PR image, and it's just gone the exact opposite way. And it kind of feels like they've got genuinely no legs to stand on at this point. It's just getting progressively worse for them, which is an absolute good thing. I love the fact that they are going out and they are striking. Because no bums on seats in that company. It'd be interesting to see who stays there. Like if the people who are up on the dock, shall we say, if they just stay at the desk and they don't go out and the protest, then when people do come back in and there's just people sat at the desk, it clearly shows that either they were the people that are doing it or they don't believe that it's happening, regardless of what it is that's going on around them. So if there's a mass exodus and there's no one left in the building, what does that say about the company and the employees that work for them?
Yeah, do you know, same. Big high five to the people that have stood up and taken. I mean, the impact. Let me rewind. The fact that it's got this far is naturally fear. So when I'm saying the reason I asked the first question, I split the question in two parts. Should the employees have stood up and asked? And should they have done something about this sooner? And Bibi said yes to both. The reason I asked the first part, it was kind of a question that was always going to be a yes, but I just wanted to be something that I came back to is a lot of these employees, even at this point, striking is something that would probably be putting fear amongst a lot of them. If they strike, they take the time off, they put their name on a piece of paper and sign something that says this shit is not right. For standing up for what is right is the right thing to do. But the right thing to do isn't always the thing that happens and doesn't always lead to right things being done in return. Standing up and striking, putting your name on the front of something can make you be seen as a problem. As someone that needs to be got rid of. Not now, but we'll wait 12, 24, 18 months, whatever it is, and we'll find reasons to start getting you out of the business. So a lot of these people will be aware that is a real world potential. So the fact that they're aware of that, they're already in a business that has a frat boy mentality where a bunch of mates all look after each other and stop people that are different from them or that they don't like progressing up the ladder. So by standing out and standing up for other people, you are making yourself stand out. You're drawing attention to yourself, and these people that have all of the power and the sway and have been making people's lives shit could still be there. So fair play to them. It's a big move for these people to strike because as much as we want the world to be a wonderful place, a lot of this could just be smoke and mirrors. Okay, we'll get a legal team in. We'll do some internal audits, and we'll get these sessions where we ask people to listen into interviews and stuff. nowhere in there does that mean that something will happen. I mean, as we've said before, HR departments are employed by the company that they're trying to take down. And not that they want to take the company down, but they want to hold the company to task. But if you're taking the CEO and the top levels of a company out of a company because they are shits, then that can be quite damaging to the company and could literally make the CEO go, fuck it, that's it, company gone, depending on how the company's structured and all sorts of other shit in there. So HR is often an extension of management, which is not supposed to be. So to have the balls for them to stand up and strike and do this, GG's. Lake says, we had a massive strike here where when Volvo Bus was announced to move to Poland, we even made a movie about our march from Main Square to about 300 metres away to another square. TV channels were there to film it back then. Everyone lost their jobs and the only option was to move to Poland. Stand up and defend your rights, working class. I was one of the strikers' workers. GG's for striking. GG's. I mean, that's it. It's not easy for an individual person. If you work in a company and you see it's shit, it's not easy for a person to stand up and call that company out, because if you're on your own, what can you do? And that's the shit thing. It's a question that people have probably asked in different industries, in different countries, the world over many, many years. What can I do? I'm just one person. And in reality, there's not much that you can do. But when it becomes so widespread for a company that is so well placed in the public sphere, then, well, it turns out actually if you can do stuff. If depending on the extent of the problems, basically what I'm saying is don't go striking. Do strike, but don't strike. Only strike when it's right, because if not, you are putting yourself in the firing line. Because there is a big risk to it. So strike when it's valuable, when it's the right time to do so. And these people absolutely know that it was well beyond the right time to do so. They've got away with their shit for so long that they're actually calling them out. The funny thing is they got away with their shit for so long, and it was only when they tried to get away with their shit again that people went, do you know what, fuck it, that's it. I'm out, fuck the shit, I'm out. Literally, just at that point when they released that statement, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that shows just how ignorant and fucking, I mean, they use the word tone deaf. Tone deaf is not reading the room. I don't believe it was tone deaf. I think it was tone deaf and then some. Tone deaf is just not paying attention to the others. Tone deaf implies that you just didn't hear it. They fucking heard it. Everything that's been going on, they heard it. They knew what they were doing. It wasn't tone deaf. It was much more malicious than tone deaf. So GG's for the people once again for striking.
Well, the fact that the people who are working there are still working there probably means that they enjoy their job. It's just the fact that the working conditions around them have not been desirable. So hopefully this changes for them and they can actually enjoy going to work again, because a lot of people that are probably working on the stuff there is probably their absolute dream job. They've managed to get there and it's just ended up being an absolute shit show. So hopefully for the people who are working there, change will come your way. You can actually enjoy getting up and going to work again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing about it. It's like, we all know people that have, and I say people, I mean women. We all know. I assume we know. I say that quite openly because I know a few people that this has applied to that have had their opportunities held back because they've been pregnant or they've had a child or they've left work or they've had maternity or whatever, and things have been offered to other people or they've been pushed back because of anticipation of that sort of stuff. And that sort of stuff is bullshit. And that's the minimum stuff that they've done, which is fucking incredible that they've just allowed themselves to get to that sort of level. So do you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Activision. You've put a lot of stuff in there. The fact that you've brought in, I can't find the name of it, Wilmer Hale, an external law firm, well, they've got to pass fucking all sorts of stuff to make themselves legit over there. Surely, right? Surely that means they're going to hold them to task and everything's going to be good. Hopefully. We will keep you up to date on how things progress on that, though. But that, for now, is the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of The Scoop. Appreciate you being here. Let's give you a little bit of a rundown of the stories that we did go through today. We started off with a question. Is the Xbox Game Pass model sustainable? Could be, might not be. Sean Laird, an ex-PlayStation exec, believes it isn't, and things will have to change. Either more users, different ways of attributing users to the system to get more subscriptions, or put the prices up, is the gist of it. Elsewhere, EA has big plans to change its own systems, and by that we mean business models and the way it reaches its customers over the next 5 years, although their customers are players, not gamers, because gamers is a term that is a little bit outdated, which kind of is true, but also isn't true, depending on how you take it. It's a multifaceted, which is a word that I've used a lot of times today, word for a multifaceted audience. And then finally, we give you an update that Bobby Kotick has apologised for Activision's tone-deaf response to the DFEH lawsuit that they are currently facing. And that's it for us. We are going to drop off. We will jump back on with some PUBG. We were going to play New World, but honestly, we have been quite busy, and neither of us have tested whether New World will run and play on the PCs at the same time, so we're not going to do that. So we're going to jump on with some PUBG. Yay!
Yeah.
Also, it's pissing it down, thunder and lightning, so we're not going outside. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, no golf for me today. It is fucking miserable over in Newton at the moment. Samantha just sent me a text, with the Thunder Buddies from Ted.
Fuck you, Thunder.
So yeah, I'll go and see if she's okay. But yeah, it's just not a cat or anything like that.
She's full on clinging to the curtains.
But yeah, put some PUBG times.
Yeah, nice. So do feel free to come back and join us for PUBG. We'll be off for 10, 15, 20 minutes-ish, something like that. So feel free to come back. If you are new here and you do want to be notified when we do come back, just hit follow. That's all you need to do. You can join our Discord. You get notifications in there when we go live too. But before all of that, Mr. Bib, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, again, thank you very much to each and every one of you that have joined us for Wednesday's episode of The Scoop. We very much appreciate it. And for those guys that end up putting stuff into the Scoop section on Discord, again, appreciate it. But if you want to help shape our show like the legends did today, there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or get involved with our Discord. I didn't know if I was going to burp or hiccup them.
A burp up.
Yeah, burp up. Yeah. If you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, then do hit us in the description below. Everything that you will need to get in contact with us will be listed below. But all we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next day, which will be at what time tomorrow? Mr. Graham Day.
Well, that will be at 10 a.m.
Massive-ish.
10 a.m.-ish. We went live at about 20 past 12 today, so close. Close. But yeah, do you know, you guys, a quick request. If you do see our go live video bits, they take a little bit longer for us. And the idea is to give a bit more information to the people that are on social media that might want to join into our show. We've said quite a few times, Twitch is like a meeting room. People only know to meet you in the meeting room if you tell them there. So Twitch isn't the greatest at broadcasting outward. People can't find you on Twitch as well as they can through other social media. So we make these little videos to get people in. So if you guys see those videos and you don't mind sharing them for us, that would be very, very much appreciated. Give them the invites to the meeting room. But that's it, though. We will be back in a few with PUBG. Until the next time, have a good day. Enjoy the pissing it down rain. And stay frosty.